Somebody yelled. Nuts. Alright, she's streaming.
It's much. You had a bad week 2 weeks ago. You had a bad week. You did. You were right there. Don't walk.
Just the back row of the camera guys that are loudest.
Yeah.
They're ripping around.
It's like 2 hours. You have to like talk through them.
I don't think I will shoot I call him Big B.
It's back
I almost like to see
Welcome to our press conference for the Clemson, South Carolina game. Kickoff is 7:35 on Saturday night. Again, I want to thank Herb Tyler from Chick-fil-A for providing our lunch today. We will have a press conference next Tuesday at the same time. Coach Swinney will have a teleconference through the ACC on Sunday at 4:30. I'll get you the information on that. It's basically, I believe, the same number you would call in for the ACC coaches teleconference throughout the year. And then we'll have the regular schedule next Monday, Tuesday, will be the same as what we've done throughout the year.
All right, thanks, Tim. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, this week. Hope everybody has a great week, get a chance to spend a little time with your families. I'm very thankful for this team and the season that we've had to this point. Really had an excellent season. These guys have worked incredibly hard. It's a tremendous amount of sacrifice and commitment and dedication and work that goes in to having a season like this. And just really thankful for our staff and our team and everyone here at Clemson. There's the season, and then we have South Carolina. It kind of stands alone. That's why it's a goal listed all by itself on our goal board. This is a fun week. It's awesome to be a part of rivalry games. Regardless of where you are, it's just you're Florida State, Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina, Michigan, Ohio State, whatever. This is a special week, and a lot to a lot of people. This is one that you live with all year. And so we're looking forward to competing against these guys. It's the next goal for us. We're really happy that we were able to achieve our second goal, which is to win the division. And this is the next goal. And we know we got a good team coming in here. Will's done an excellent job. Really has. I mean, they're very well coached. Their staff has done a great job in, building some positive momentum and coming back from obviously a disappointing season for them last year to come back, have them bowl eligible. They're playing a lot of young guys. They've done a heck of a job. They really have. Offensively, since Bentley took over, they're 4-1, and he is obviously well groomed to be a very successful college quarterback. His dad has coached him forever, and is one of the best coaches we've had in the state. So he's very well prepared. He's a freshman, but he's not your typical freshman. He is very knowledgeable, has a great understanding of what they're doing offensively. And again, it's just kind of settled them down, and they've played very well since he took over. They've done a great job in the running game. Their backs, the Dabo kid, big, strong. He's a young player, but he really has kind of the whole package for them. 25 Turner's, he's not quite as big, but he's fast, and got some dynamic, ability to him. But again, starts up front with their offensive line, and I think they're good up front. I think Bailey, 78, is as good an offensive lineman as we've seen. He is a great football player. He's as good as I've seen all year on tape. Big, strong, physical presence inside. And again, I think they're doing a good job of schematically with what they're doing in the run game and the play action and the screen game mixed in. So then taking their shots when they present themselves. But very impressed with them. They got a very good tight end, two good tight ends. They got the 81 kid. He's a big guy. He's 6'5", 240, 250. Runs really well. He's got a lot of energy. I think he's an older, more mature kid, and you can tell that he really brings a lot of energy to their team. Crosby is another guy. He's got about 4 touchdowns. So they do a good job mixing the tight ends in. And then number 1 is a great player. 89 is going to be a great player. He's had a heck of a year for them as a freshman. Know Brian very well. Big, strong, one-on-one type of a target. That they'll do a good job of taking some one-on-one shots, back shoulder type throws, and he does a good job of high pointing those type of balls, those 50-50 plays. He's really gotten better as the year has gone. So they've done a nice job of pulling it together. And again, I think Bentley has really kind of just brought it all, helped them kind of pull it all together and have the success that they've had. Defensively, several guys that we've seen from last year. They do have some new guys mixed in, some junior college transfer guys, a couple of young guys in there playing, but number 90 is a load inside. He is a very good player. They got a lot of depth up front. They play a lot of those guys. English, who we played against the last few years, I think he's got about 9 sacks. He's long. He's an athletic kid. Dante Sawyer, he's quick twitch, good athlete. They got a young guy, number 18, that comes in there and plays. He's a good athlete. Number 8 is a guy. So they got plenty of guys up front. Very impressed with their linebackers. 28 is a really good football player. And 4, I believe, is the other kid that's a thumper. 11, the Holloman kid, has played quite a bit. He plays kind of all 3 spots. Very good group at linebacker. And then secondary, they got a new kid at corner who's, I think, a very good player. He's fast. They're doing a nice job with the 2 safeties, 16, and is playing very good, solid corner for them. And then 22 and 24 back there at safety. But the biggest thing defensively, obviously Will his background's always been defense. They're very well coached. They understand what they're doing, and they've done a nice job of positioning their guys to have a chance to be successful. From a coverage standpoint, they're not just a one-trick pony. They're gonna present multiple things. They're gonna, you know, give you some one safety. They're gonna play some twos at Tampa. They're gonna cloud. They're gonna trigger those corners to support in the run game. They'll do a lot of different things to kind of keep you off balance a little bit. Play a little bit of 4-man and 3-man fronts as well. So very well coached. And again, we know that we'll have to play well. And then again, special teams. You know, Fry's been around there for 10 years, seems like. He's still there. Good kicker, strong leg, and they've got good returners. So for us, it's really our focus is on just trying to finish strong and trying to play the best 4 quarters of the season this week. That's really what we're locked in on and focused on. And then we're excited to have another opportunity to play at home. You know, obviously we didn't play, you know, didn't get the result that we wanted the last time that we played here. So we're really excited about having another opportunity. I'm thankful that our seniors get another chance to play here at home. But this will be it. This will be their last opportunity, and it's a night game. So I know it'll be a great crowd. Everybody have a chance to digest all that turkey that everybody's going to eat on Thursday, and get excited about coming in and having a great environment to play college football game on Saturday night.
Coach, you went head-to-head with Coach Spurrier so many times. Does it feel different or strange going into this one now that he's gone?
Well, more so last year. Not really as much this year, just because, you know, it's been a little more time. Last year was very different. So, you know, I've known Will a long time. He was a young coach at Auburn. I was at Alabama, and he was at LSU. We kind of crossed paths over the years, and always liked Will. I've always thought he's a tremendous football coach.
When you go back 2 years to Deshaun tearing his ACL, having it basically be a secret that he was going to play that game here 2 years ago, where does that rank on the list of Watson moments for you?
Right there at the top. That's how I started my press conference after the game. I was like, you guys don't understand what we just saw. It was unbelievable. I mean, I just was really blown away the entire game. And how he played and competed and performed. I mean, it was spectacular. I mean, definitely, I mean, he's had some unbelievable moments. I mean, that guy, it just becomes, you know, everybody's expectations of him are so high, you know. It's like Michael Jordan, you know, he shows up, he's supposed to drop 45 on you, you know. All of a sudden, he gets 20. It's like, what's wrong with Michael Jordan? You know, he's kind of elevated himself here at Clemson in college football because he's had so many unbelievable moments, so many great plays. But that one right there was certainly special. And plus, you know, we hadn't beaten those guys. We've done a lot of great things around here, a lot of great success, but that was obviously a bad run for us in achieving that goal. We hadn't done a great job with that goal. And he was a freshman, and you know, that was a great moment, and you know, got us back on track in the series.
As he prepares to move on to the NFL, whenever that is, what does he learn about himself because of that scrutiny, those expectations, like the Jordan thing you talked about, that he's held to that high standard?
Yeah, well, I think he's better suited to answer that than I am, but I just think that, you know, he's just learned what matters, what doesn't matter, what to focus on, what not to focus on. You know, you can learn a lot through success, but you certainly can learn probably a lot more through some failure. So he's had enough of that along the way to continue to grow. But he's well prepared. Obviously, the platform that he's had here at Clemson, the type of success that we've had has exposed him to a very high level of scrutiny, exposure, all that. And so I think he's learned how to balance, you know, and stay true to who he is and not get distracted by things. And that'll be very important for him as he continues his career.
Did you guys learn anything about this rivalry last year when you come in #1, undefeated, they're a 3-win team going nowhere, and that game was a football game throughout the fourth quarter?
Absolutely.
It was in doubt. I mean, on paper it says you guys should have blown them away. Did you learn anything about this rivalry in that game?
Yeah, well, that's why I always tell people we don't play the game on paper. You know, that's what Coach Stone used to always teach us, you know, if the play don't pay for, the coaches would show up and walk to the midfield, you know, and look at his X's and O's and his X's and O's, and the crowd would ooh and ah, and the ref would declare winners. You know, it would just, you know, or we just listen to the media or whoever, and we need to play the game. You know, you just get a winner declared. Now, that's why you play them. Game's not decided on paper. Yes, you can look at it and say, okay, well, this appears to be the best team, but as we all know, the best team does not always win. You know, you gotta play well. It's the team that plays the best. That's what makes this game so exciting and so much fun. And then you throw in the fact that you have a rivalry game, anything can happen. And we all know that. I don't think we learned that last year. I think, you know, everybody knows that. If you get in games like this, there's a lot that can happen. Anybody can beat anybody. We've seen it a million times over the years.
A few years ago, when Deshaun Watson declared that when he got here, he would not lose to South Carolina while he was the starting quarterback, what went through your mind? Were you thinking, shh, or?
I didn't even know that.
No?
I learned that from y'all. So, you know, that was a good goal for him. Nothing wrong with having goals. And so far, he's been able to live up to it. Hopefully he can live that dream out.
When you think back to your victory over USC when you were an interim coach, what kind of stands out to you the most? Do you kind of consider that win maybe the last deciding factor that kind of got you this head job?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. You know, no doubt about it. I remember, first of all, getting ready to go to the hotel, and you know, President Edwards was literally wheeled out on a hospital bed to see the team off. It's unbelievable. And I remember it was a kind of a cold, kind of cloudy, seemed later than it was type of a game. But I just remember the spirit of our team and how hard they played, their will to win, and the crowd, you know, at the end of the game. It was a special moment for me, and there's no question. I mean, you know, if we don't win that game, I'm probably not here. I mean, maybe. I mean, Terry Don Phillips has some guts. I don't know if he had that kind of guts, but you know, it was unbelievable. You know, and very thankful for that group of seniors, because you know, those guys. That's what's special about that team is, you know, they really bought into. Hey, it's how you finish. That's what we control. It's always about what's next. The best is yet to come. The rest of your season is the best of your season. The rest of your life can be the best of your life. You know, let's buy into a different way of thinking and attitude. And those guys did an unbelievable job and played their hearts out. You know, we finished 4-2 those last 6 games, and that was certainly the game that kind of got us over the hump, and it got us bowl eligible. You know, we weren't going to a bowl, so it gave us an opportunity, and it was huge for me getting the job because it gave us a bowl season to prep and to get some things in place for spring practice, to get some of those young kids an opportunity to continue to kind of sow some seeds and develop our culture a little bit, even though it was a very chaotic situation all the way through January.
Remember last year you were asked at your press conference about the booster circuit being easier because you're coming off a win against South Carolina. Over your time here, does that sort of magnify itself that even in those years where Clemson would win 10, 11 games but lose to South Carolina, how much that meant?
Yeah. Oh, it matters. I mean, there's no question. I mean, I will say this, even when we lost, the Clemson people were great. I mean, they really were. They were always very happy to see us and kind of respectful. I mean, you know, they all in their own ways that, you know, some of them don't really have to say anything, but we all know that it's very disappointing if you don't win this game, because again, you don't live with it, regardless of whatever else goes on. But through that, I'm thankful. And again, those were really good teams. You know, these were 10, 11 type win teams, very good football teams, and we also did a lot of great things, and I think, you know, I think our fans are educated, and I think that they recognize where we were heading as a program. You know, it's not like we were, you know, winning 5 games and that type of thing. We were not getting it done on that particular day, but as a program, we were moving in the right direction. And so our fans have always been great, but there's no question when you win that game, there's just a little different smile on people's faces when you show up. There's no doubt, especially those people who live down in Columbia.
This senior class, the chance to match a couple class records this week. How key has that group been to this team's success?
I mean, this is just an unbelievable group. I mean, it's well documented what they've been able to do, and I guess this would be a 45th win. Is that right? This would be a 46th win, which I guess ties the record, and then they could break it in the postseason play. But I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it really is. These guys are. You just look at. I mean, they finished. Ben Boulware, since he came here, I mean, he's been on at least a top 10, top 5, top 15 team. We've been in the top 5 for a long time.
21 weeks.
I mean, in the top 5 in the country. So that goes back a long way for, you know, these guys. And so they've been impactful people in the community, impactful people on this team. I mean, even when they were young players, you know, you look at the impact that they've had. I mean, they've just been an incredibly talented and committed group, and they're all going to be graduates. Some of them have already graduated. Most of them are all graduating next week. I think all of our scholarship guys graduate next week, with the exception of Seth. He's actually going to work for the Bills in January, and that's going to be his internship. That's all he's got left, is his internship in spring, and then he'll graduate in May. And we got a couple of our walk-ons that will graduate this spring as well, but all our scholarship guys are going to be graduates. What they've done academically, the academic success that we've had, 6 out of our last 7 years, we've been top 10 in the country. You know, last fall, in the run that we had, you know, we had 48 guys make a 3.0 or higher. This senior group is obviously a big part of that. But the thing about this group that makes them so special is they're the first group that has the experience coming back into, when we started in the spring, no other team I've had, no other senior group had an experience of a run like they had in 2015 to draw on. You know, we'd had some great seasons, but a college football playoff, a national championship experience, you know, it's, as y'all heard me say, it's one thing to think about it, dream about it, but when you experience it, it's a whole different level of teaching. And these guys kind of bottle that up. And our spring practice from day one of our meetings in here, the leadership, the accountability, this has been an easy football team. I mean, easy football team to coach. Just no drama. Guys just incredibly coachable, and then how they've managed, because a lot of people think we're this old team. We're incredibly young. I mean, our football team is way majority freshmen and sophomores. So, you know, we don't have many juniors on scholarship. We don't have many seniors. We've got 13 scholarship seniors, and that counts Teasdall, who came here as a walk-on. That counts Seth Ryan, who came here as a walk-on. We just don't have many. But they are impactful people, great leaders, and have been incredibly committed to being the best they can be on and off the field, as players, academics, leaders, you name it.
Having grown up in one of these contentious rivalries, does this week feel any different to you?
From when I was at Alabama?
Just knowing sort of both sides of these.
No, it's exactly the same. It's really no different at all, to be honest with you. It's zero difference. The only difference is we're not the same conference, same division. That's the really only difference. But as far as the rivalry, the emotion in the state, the impact that has, the interest, scrutiny, it's all the same. It really is. There's no difference. You know, again, our states are similar. You know, you don't have pro sports, you know, high school football, college football, two main universities in the state that people are passionate about, and you gotta choose, you know, even if you just move in here from somewhere, you know, you gotta choose, you know, even if you're a fan of Wisconsin, you know, well, that's great, but who you pulling for? You know, I need to know, because it's gonna determine whether or not you and I are gonna talk this week, or ever again, so, you know, it's the same, it really is. It is truly the same.
Going back over your time here as an assistant coach, now a head coach, with the rivalry, what's the most lighthearted or humorous moment you can recall a fan or a student coming up to you and saying something to you about it?
Oh, man, I don't know. I've had a bunch of them. You know, I get all kind of crazy stuff sent to me, or written to me, or whatever. I've had a lot of humor on both sides along the years. I don't know what the most humorous would be.
You guys follow Jake in the recruiting process at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Bailey. Oh, yeah. Watched him since he was in like the 8th grade. He's a really good football player. And he had him in camp. He came up here, and he did a tremendous job in our camp. Got a live arm, big, strong, and you know, just got a lot of respect for him as a player.
Coach, speaking of recruiting, how important is this game for recruiting in state, or has your elite status kind of transcended the importance of that in terms of recruiting?
Elite status? Wow. No.
Just in the last couple of years, the success you've had as a program.
It really doesn't. I don't think that matters. I mean, I think that this state again is so similar to what I grew up in and coached in. I was a part of it, coaching and playing for 13 years. And this is my 14th year here. So what I've learned over the years is exactly what I knew when I was in Alabama. Some places you walk in, and I don't care, you might have won the national championship. They ain't happy to see you. Some places you walk in, you won 5 games, they're happy to see you. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. Because of the state and the culture that we have here, some of these kids that you're gonna love in the recruiting process and you evaluate, you really like them, you know what, they grew up South Carolina. That's just hard to overcome. Or they grew up Clemson. I mean, it's just hard to overcome. You know, unless you just got bad people involved. Ultimately, it comes down to the people that are in place. And they got a bunch of good folks over there. Will's got a good staff. So, you know, I don't really think it matters as much as people think. I think that kids, if they're going to stay in state, you know, I think now that's the bigger challenge for us and South Carolina. We really don't. Everybody thinks that we do. Every now and then you'll have a guy here or there, but we really don't compete with South Carolina as much in state as you would think. And the reason is we're just so different. I mean, they're just, you couldn't have more differences in the programs, the locations, the environments, you name it. You know, conferences, whatever. And so usually if a kid just loves South Carolina, well, he's probably not gonna like Clemson as much. Or if he just loves, we're very, very different in that regard. From a recruiting outside standpoint, but in state, most of them on rare occasions will you just turn a guy. You know, the more recruiting that we do against each other will come out of state. You know, kids that want to come in and are interested in looking at both programs in this state, but from out of state. But in state, it's not as much as you would think. First of all, we have a very small population, as we all know. And then you throw in the academics, now the pool shrinks even more, and there's more people in Atlanta than our whole state, you know, so, and then you throw in okay, well, he's been a South Carolina kid his whole life, and he's been a Clemson kid his whole life. But sometimes there's a kid that's a Clemson guy that maybe we don't offer, that he has the opportunity to stay at home and go to South Carolina, or there's a kid that's a South Carolina fan that grew up South Carolina, but maybe they didn't offer, that we really like. And we have both of those on our team. We have that situation, they have that situation. So at the end of the day, it's great to see the kids of our state have an opportunity to stay at home and play at two really good programs in front of their families and their friends. So I think that's a positive. But as far as just, you know, winning the game and that just makes somebody's decision, or having a good year or bad year. I don't really think that's as big a deal as a lot of people may think.
Back to some of the funny stuff, rivalry week can bring out pranksters. Has a Gamecock fan that's maybe like a neighbor or someone that you're closer to, or maybe even Coach Spurrier ever pranked you during the week, or maybe even in the off season? Or have you ever pulled off something funny against a Gamecock fan?
Not that I can share. But, oh yeah, there's plenty of that going around, that's for sure. Coach Spurrier's never pranked during this week. He's never done that.
Do you have an update or timetable on Fruit Morgan?
I don't have anything new, on him today.
Has he been back with the team, or?
Well, he's engaged in what we're asking him to do and what he needs to do, and he actually came to practice last week, and, it was great to see him there, so, hopefully we'll see him at some point this week, but this is a little different week, as far as, his school time and opportunity to be with his family.
Is he practicing?
No, he just was at practice.
I think you mentioned on Saturday night that Jalen Williams might have retweaked his hamstring. Is he okay?
Jalen, no, it was his knee.
Okay, knee.
They just, I think something a little bit to do with the weather too, I think, but, he's back in practice, and they were trying to change out his brace and all that stuff, but we ended up just pulling it out, in the game the other night.
South Carolina's been kind of a bend but don't break defense and cause a lot of turnovers in the red zone. Do you feel like having success in the red zone will kind of be a big part of the game?
Well, that's been the key to us, our success, that's for sure. When we've done a great job in the red zone, we've played well. It all goes back to turnovers for us this season. There's no question. Last year it was big plays. This year it's turnovers. We've done a good job, one or less. It's unbelievable what we've been able to do. And when we had two or more, the dynamics are different. So we've got to take care of the ball, but in particular in the red zone, because not only have we had turnovers, but we've had a bunch in the red zone. And so now you're not getting points, and you've shortened the game. It's a double-edged sword there, but they've done. Florida, they got that big turnover off in the red zone. Florida did. South Carolina recovered. I think I believe it was early on. I've been Mississippi State. I think had a couple turnovers inside the 20 as well. So they've done a nice job of getting turnovers. Again, they're very well coached defensively, and they play hard, play tough, run to the ball, get after you.
Seeing what this environment did to Louisville and Lamar Jackson in a primetime environment, how much of an advantage do you think you guys have playing this at home, primetime, with Jake Badley, who's really the age of a high school senior coming in?
He's a mature kid. He's been around this state. He's been to Clemson many times. He's not going to be overwhelmed by that. He understands what he's getting into. Lamar Jackson had not been here, but shoot, he had, I thought, the best performance of his year. I don't know how much, we turned it over 5 times. He had 100 plays, but we made one more play than they did. But he probably had a great game when he was here.
Coach, what have you seen on film from South Carolina that makes them so special at forcing teams to turn over the ball and make mistakes? They seem to be able to do that to everyone who's played so far this year.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Just schematically, what they do coverage-wise, they get after you. First of all, they play hard up front. They're very well coached. They position their guys very well. They understand what the offenses are trying to do. So they'll scheme up your protections. They do a great job of route reading, and you've got tendencies, they're going to know them, and they position them well, and they mix their coverages. Again, they're not just a one-trick pony. They're going to change it up as far as technique of the corners, depths of the corners. They're going to be a one safety team. There's different ways to be a one safety team, and how you get to it. So they had their backers do a good job. They had a big pick in the red zone against one of the teams. I get them all mixed up in my head watching the tape, but they understand, what they're doing, and again, very well coached.
Can it force players to overthink maybe a little bit, like be careful because these guys know how to force a turnover?
I just think, that's what we have to do too. We've got to be well coached, and we've got to be well prepared, and we've got to understand what they're trying to do. and, study them, break them down, and at the end of the day, we have answers built into what we're trying to do, so we have to execute well. We gotta execute at a high level, and you gotta win your matchups, so that you can play in rhythm and not have to, scramble around and be scattered. Get yourself, if you get behind the chains and things like that, you're playing on a long field, that's a big advantage for them.
Tony Elliott said yesterday that Ben Bowler is a guy who will make sure that everybody knows how much this rivalry game means. Is that something that stands out, how much he cares about this game?
Yeah, I think we got several guys, they all know, especially these seniors, they've been around here, and they all understand. We've got a bunch of kids on this team, Ben, Jadar, Cordray, Mike Williams, a lot of these guys, they understand how important this game is. They really all do, even if they're not from the state, because they live it. Even if you win it, you live that too. And that's a lot better option, I can assure you.
Tony Elliott mentioned the other day too that that weight game maybe gave the run game a jumping off point that you can move forward with. Do you think that that's something that you want to see more of? The way you dominated the run game like that this week?
Yeah, I mean, we want to run the ball every week. Against Pitt, it wasn't an option. That's why we threw for 580. Everybody wants to think we're just going to line up and run against, 9-man fronts. We haven't seen anybody play us like Pitt played us. But 630 yards, 580 yards passing, 70% completion. It was all built into the run game. Okay, we're going to take what you give us, and we're very effective. We had a couple of turnovers, and we didn't play well on defense, and we got beat. But we wanted to run the ball a lot more, but we're not going to beat our head against the wall. We're going to play this week totally different, completely different. They were going to try to run the ball on offense and shorten the game and play very soft on defense, and not give up big plays and force you to see if you can put drives together. So you still got to be able to do it. You still got to be able to win those matchups, and that's what I was so encouraged about last week. Was we did a great job on our double teams, did a much better job of getting our back to the second level. I thought Wayne did a great job of winning his matchups, because when we do get you to that second level, and they're reacting and spinning people down, you still got to beat a guy. And he did a great job of winning his one-on-one matchups. I thought Deshaun did a great job from a decision-making standpoint in the run game. And we just covered him up, and we did an excellent job on the perimeter. Guys like Mike Williams, he did an outstanding job blocking the perimeter. Leggett did a good job on the perimeter. But it all goes together. But we were very patient, but we had to be, based on the style of play that we're being presented with. And that's always what we're going to do. We're not trying to force a square peg in a round hole. We always want to run the football, but we've got to be able to go do that. And every week that's where it starts. But then we have to respond to what's happening in the game. And that's what makes us so dangerous, is we can run the ball and we can throw the ball. We're not just a one-dimensional team, and we've proven that many times. So I don't think that's going to change as we move forward. Our ability to do both is critical to our overall success and our long-term goals.
Coach, while you have this relationship with Coach Muschamp, first time you're facing off as head coaches, what would it be like to see him on the other sideline, and what's the potential for you two moving forward?
It won't be any different than any other game, you always see the head coach, and it's I guess a little different in that this is our first matchup, his first time to be a part of this game, but again, Will and I both understand we got a job to do, have a healthy respect for one another, and he's worried about his team, I'm worried about my team. We'll visit, chit-chat, like we're all head coaches. Occasionally, every now and then, you'll have one who'll come talk to you, but I think he will. So we'll visit a little bit, and we'll move on to the game. That's really it.
Anybody got anything else? Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys, happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Coach.